Hello Pisces, and welcome to your monthly forecast. This is for June 2024. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. This can be used for Sun, Rising, and Moon. Let's get straight into the channeled messages today. The first thing that I saw in dreams was an old-fashioned symbol. It was an hourglass, and it had already expired, so I watched as someone flipped it over, and basically the cycle began anew. This cyclical energy is part of the reason that I put the World card here. There is one more step to take. That would be the Fool, the complete reset, but you have to take the script and flip it, or the hourglass and flip it. You have to see things from a different perspective. So if you're willing to let go, if you're willing to open your mind, open your heart, then a new synchronicity, a new opportunity awaits you. This could be a very, very big moment for you, but I think the other thing here is being completely present in order to recognize it. So time now is playing a part in this symbol. Right here, right now is all that matters. That feeds us into the next message that I got, which was forgiveness. And for some of you, it could literally be forgiving someone else for something that they did or for a situation that happened in the past. But I think the majority of you Pisces that are tuning in today, it's really about looking at your decisions and being at peace with where you've landed. Maybe there were some things that you would have changed had you known more. But you're going to forgive yourself, you're going to release the need to be perfect, and reset things. Turn that hourglass over and just say, all right, today's a fresh start, a clean slate, a new page. I'm going to learn from the past and understand that whenever you're looking back, hindsight always reveals the best path. But when you're going through it, you do the best you can. You may make a misstep. Just use that now to educate and inform better decisions moving forward, okay? If there's any personal healing that you need to deal with, this is the time, because you want to be able to take advantage of this reset that I was picking up on, okay? So definitely self-care is taking prominence here and priority at the very beginning of the month. And after you get through that, I think this reset's going to open up and it's going to really provide some exciting opportunities. So as we look at the cards today, I'm going to keep an eye out for anything that might represent healing, and then any sort of doors that might be opening for you as well. Let's give the cards a shuffle. I don't think I've ever seen that, Pisces. We got all of the court cards there, so you're definitely coming through loud and clear before I've even had a chance to finish shuffling. That's exciting. That is a first. I've never gotten all four of one court card, or one suit, I should say. Very exciting. All right. Sort of volunteer here. Okay, you received two different cards in the catalyst. Metal, but it's shown in its molten form, and then we have fiber here. So let's break it down and look at each card individually. What I like about the metal card, like I said, is that it's actually much more fluid than you would imagine, and it represents the ability to move away from a rigid way of thinking or working or living and being open-minded, open-hearted, and going with the flow. Think of lava. Lava doesn't actually flow really quickly all of the time, but it can break through anything. So it's not about the speed with which you move. It's not about doing something that's tried and true. It's about slowly moving through the process and staying as fluid and as open and as flexible as possible. If there is a block in front of you, you can eventually get through it. That's what I get from this. Also, when I'm looking at this, it reminds me of the forge of Vulcan or Hephaestus, basically the blacksmith. And so one of the things that you can do this month is take old things and rebuild or reforge them. Judgment is a great example of this because it's the ability to rise up. So it's not about doing what you did before. It's reinvention, it's flexibility, malleability, fluidity, all of that. As we take a look at the fiber card, one clear message comes to me, and that's attention to detail. You can see each and every stitch, each and every thread. It's creating something that is not only beautiful and well crafted, but something that will last. So if you're going to do anything this month, take your time, really pay attention to the fine print, the details, and know that this is going to result in others basically celebrating, connecting, and respecting whatever it is that you're creating in your life, okay? So one step at a time, paying attention to the details. And if you feel a little bit frustrated, like, why haven't I made more progress? Take a step back. Really celebrate just how much work has been done. It's difficult to see sometimes. If you're this close, you may not see it, but as you start to get some distance, you can see you're actually making more progress than you might imagine. Okay, Pisces, as we take a look at what's in front of us, it's an exciting month. There's no way to get around passion, partnership, creativity, intuition. It plays a central role in your story this month, but also your success. Let's begin with the Knight of Cups. Again, partnering up with the Page. So what we can get between the two of these is if you're willing to put the call out, there's an answer. If you're willing to wear your heart on your sleeve, someone may respect the vulnerability. People are really interested in what you have to say and the way that you have to say it. So a knight is going to march into the world showing passion, conviction, creativity, and they're going to tune into what others have to say. One of the things that I get from this card also is a question from the universe, which is, what do you want? What do you stand for? It's not a pressure sort of question. It's more inquisitive. And don't be surprised this month if it comes from like a boss. Someone might come through and say, what would you like to do? What are you passionate about? Maybe it's a teacher, a parent, or it's your higher self thinking like, what am I doing here? What do I want to do? Use the answer as you're watching this as a sort of informed sort of prompt to help you with the next step. So if you think to yourself, what am I passionate about? What do I want to do? Okay, if it's this, am I doing it? What am I going to do to get there? So this is a little bit of a wake-up call because the more connected you are to your passion, the more you can receive. Even though we don't have a lot of pentacles in this spread, we have so much movement associated with the heart space that there's really no way that you can ignore what you want. If you've been pushing this beneath the surface because, you're worrying about everybody else or you're trying to please everyone else, we can see the tentacles coming out saying, but wait a second, don't forget about me. It could be the inner child, it could be your common sense, it could just be your heart saying, I want to do that. I want to reach for that. Pisces, this is the month to reach, okay? By the way, all of those tentacles also represent your ability to have an impact on people. It's outreach. It's making a splash in a very important way. And, crossing this card, we have communication. So for those of you that are possibly authors or have public speaking in your sort of job function, or are just really good at conveying things through your heart, through your communication, this is your month, okay? The other thing that I get with this is listen to your heart when you're making a decision, especially when it's a business or health decision. I recently had a really interesting experience with a doctor where they said something and there was no reason for me to pick up on it, and it was an email, but I kind of got the vibe. I sent them a note back and I said, is it me or are you afraid? And the person said, yes, I'm scared. And I thought to myself, then I don't want this person as my doctor. If they are afraid to give advice or explore an opportunity or whatever, fear isn't what I'm looking for. And I don't know what, other than I do know it was my intuition. But I think they were just as surprised as I was that I picked up on the fear, and they immediately gave me a referral, which made me feel better. So if you pick up on something like that, hesitation, fear, anxiety, uncertainty, and it's something major, financial, health, or just general well-being, follow up on that and seek out a different counsel in this case. Again, especially if it is legal, financial, or health, make sure that someone who is helping you doesn't have that sense of uncertainty, fear, or anxiety. These cards can also represent partnership. So taking a completely different angle on this, some of you have found love. The fact that we have a complete family here shows me that some of you may kind of be blending families. So perhaps there are two people that have been in relationships, might have children coming together, and it's that sort of expanded or extended family. Or maybe you're bringing parents to come live with you, for those of you in a relationship and you want to take care of, older parents. And it doesn't have to just be children, but I'm seeing like an extension to the family or bringing people in that don't necessarily have to be children. And it's going to be interesting because you'll have to figure out how all of these different personalities mix. If you're looking for love, you have a lot of options. We'll go into that when we look at relationships later, but I definitely see more people, more energy, and that is going to be both an opportunity and a challenge for some of you this month. The wisdom is coming through here in the deep past in the form of the Hermit. So one thing that Spirit wants to remind you is you've done the work. Many of you have maybe just graduated or gone to school, or you've gone through the school of hard knocks. You've been through some really challenging experiences in your life. And remember what I was talking about in channeled messages. It's a chance to forgive and learn from things. We don't have to be perfect, and we're never going to have the complete sort of outline for how to live life, to perfection. All we can hope to do is learn from experiences and really embrace the energy of the Hermit, which is wisdom. Wisdom through experience, through learning, through application. And if you can do that, then you're going to be okay. This is an interesting Hermit because at the very foot of this Hermit, we see mushrooms, which represent stagnation. I mentioned flexibility, fluidity, basically the antithesis of rigidity. That's the key to success. It's time to get moving. The Hermit's in the past. So the time to sort of keep to yourself or stand still, it feels like it's about to end if it hasn't already ended. And your center card was one of movement. So that's one message that I get here as well. Congrats on those who have gone through graduation, and congrats to everybody that have just, been working really, really hard to understand or make peace with something. I feel like for some of you, this could even be therapy. And we see so much emotional growth here that I just like to give you validation on that. All right, let's take a look at the recent past. One thing that's still kind of trickling into this month is power struggles. The Emperor in the upright position represents your own capacity to be strong, to be powerful, to be self-sufficient. In the reverse position, what's happening here is some of you may still be dealing with a third party, it could be a parent or a boss or a friend, that kind of reaches their tentacles in. We see so many of those tentacles this month, and they try to test your boundaries. Sometimes they come in and they make you second guess your own capacity to be independent. Have no doubt in the fact that you are someone who can take care of yourself. You have the capacity to do so, but someone might be continuing to get into your headspace. So this month, you have a chance to cut that cord and say no. Create better boundaries, better limits with this person. This is also a call from the universe for you to basically say, I need something. So if there's something that you need for your general happiness, your support, your well-being, reach out. It's okay to ask for help and to receive help. And this is a chance for you to let go of needing to control everything. Both the Queen of Wands and the Empress in reverse can also be that clingy, needy, or sort of like demanding energy. So let things go. The key here, as we keep looking at this, is to go with the flow, to be open, to be fluid. And in doing so, you're going to be able to make more progress this month, okay? If you've been holding on to something, typically this is a card that shows like a pregnant woman. It's a chance to birth, release, or let go, okay? Otherwise, everything that I love about this card is just, it's an ultimate boss card. So if you want to do something, you have the power to do it. Believe in yourself, okay? Crowning card. We have the King of Cups, and there's two general things that I'm drawn to on this. One is the tentacle around his foot, and the other one is the cup that he's kind of tossing playfully over his head. The tentacle, it represents a person, place, or thing in your life that's creating an anchor. He's not really paying much mind to that, but he probably should be. So take a moment and really tune into the things that are pulling you down, holding you back, whether it's something from within like a belief or someone in your life. Maybe it is that the Empress card reversed. If there's someone like that that is just taking more than they give or is demanding that you stand still when you really want to be moving, it's time to speak up. Now, the chalice that he's tossing over his head, I'm actually interpreting this as saying, like, I've had enough of some things and speaking up if something doesn't feel right. So it's both being bold and being honest and also being discerning. You have the capacity, the right, and the wherewithal to be all of those things. He's not letting his emotions rule him. He's not letting other people's emotions rule him either. He's very aware of who he is, where he's at, and what he's willing to take, okay? So all of those things come through. The Queen of Cups in the near future is interesting. This is a reminder to take care of yourself. So all of the stuff that we've just talked about will help you deal with emotions, but if that little anchor in the corner, this tentacle, starts to pull too much, then you may get out of that sense of feeling grounded, stable, clear. Heavy emotions, heightened sensitivity this month. It's important to deal with things as they kind of come through. And if you do that, I feel like you'll be able to maintain the Queen of Cups in the upright position. But when she's reversed, she's saying something needs to be dealt with, especially if it's weighing heavy on your heart. If you're calling in love this month, new love, not existing love, someone may want a lot more than you're able to give. It doesn't always represent an emotional or a clingy person. It could just be someone that's ready to settle down immediately, and you have to ask yourself if you're there. We see pretty evenly met energy with this Queen and King, but again, one person wants a little bit more or needs a little bit more, and it's important to make sure that you're ready or willing to give that. And if not, take a step back a little bit, ground and center yourself, and then move forward. Let's look at what's coming through for you this month here, the Five of Cups. For many of you, there's pressure to meet up to others' expectations. We look at all of these eyeballs staring in at that person. Fancy word, optics. It's just that. It's like, how am I coming across to other people? Am I meeting their expectations? It's pressure that you're putting on yourself, which is probably unnecessary and may even be a little unrealistic. So be kinder to yourself. We have two cups right behind that woman, and that can represent what we see here, beautifully illustrated here in the Two of Cups. There is someone that has your back. There is someone that's interested in you. The card is upright, possibly unconditional love here, but the unconditional love has to begin within. So look at what you have. Don't focus so much on what you don't. Focus on who has your back. Don't focus so much on who isn't interested in connecting with you. So it's the blessings. If you can focus on those, the silver lining, the opportunity, and really putting together the lessons of whatever it is that didn't work out the way you wanted, then you're going to be able to embrace the possibilities, okay? There's always a sense of mourning that needs to happen with the Five of Cups. We talked a little bit in my last weekend collective about the importance of dealing with grief, processing emotions, and, kind of loving yourself, forgiving yourself. So forgiveness was the key word that came through today. Please forgive yourself, try to forgive others, and focus on processing any heavy emotions so that you can move on to this love card, which we'll talk about in a second. First things first, in the environment, someone's trying to rush you. I don't think this is you. Temperance in the upright position represents not going to extremes. It represents the guidance of the angels and your higher self. The reverse of this card is usually an indication of hasty movement, impatience, or going to extremes. So there may be someone in your environment that has all of those attributes, that's just pushing when they shouldn't push. And so you're challenged this month, like we see with this, guys, to say, I've had enough of that, that's not going to work. Or like the Knight, you're gonna stand up and fight for what matters. And in doing so, you have the capacity to push this back, because look at all the waves around these different court cards. You can also work in a group. You don't have to do this alone. So if there's a pushy or impatient energy in the environment, use the power of people, of the group of people here, so you are not one voice. A chorus is better, okay? Speaking of which, there's at least one other person that has your back. There's also possibly someone who's interested in you. You have a great capacity this month for networking, for communicating, for relationship building, and yes, for finding love. And for those of you already in a relationship, this can represent a deepening of that. Now we have an interesting symbol in the background. So we have the Taj Mahal, which is a mausoleum, which can represent love or opportunity or something that has come to pass, but now we have a renewal energy on this. So for those of you that are on the rebound, here's the rebound, you can still live with the memory of the past, but we see something beautiful here in the foreground. I love this image because it shows the capacity for the heart to heal, for the heart to love again, and for you to also celebrate the past without having to forget it altogether. And this is processing, grieving, and moving on. And then we see the two cups in the background, and now we see them manifest. So I definitely see a happier future, a happier possibility once you get through the processing, okay? But yes, new love, new partnership, new friendship on the horizon. Now we have two powerful cards here in your outcome, a reversed Hierophant and an upright Three of Wands. The reversed Hierophant is an encouragement to make your own way, find your own way. So we have two keys at the foot of the papal figure here, and we have two disciples. But when the card is reversed, it's saying the gatekeeper, the sort of like my way or the highway figure that might be in your life, you don't have to kind of march under their orders anymore. You have your own way, your own insight, and your own capacity to do something. And it can happen right here, right now. The Three of Wands is usually an immediate or an imminent sort of energy. We see this person floating right over the ships. Stay true to your vision, stay true to your heart, and that's going to help things happen quickly. We also have multiple birds here, 3 different birds. This could represent for some of you a decision where you might have 2 or 3 different potential things that you could choose from. So if you've been applying to jobs or colleges, or you've been trying to date, all of a sudden when it rains, it pours, but in the best possible way. So this is why it's important for you to really be decisive, not to have too many things boiling at once and say, it's almost like we have a hidden 2 of Pentacles. You have to make a choice, but it's good to have options. And this month, it looks like you're manifesting options. So keep me posted in the comments and let me know maybe what some of you are trying to decide between. Let's extend this though and see if I can help you out through some of those decisions that you might be juggling. We're going to be looking at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off with health, mind, body, and spirit first. Let's see what the Oracle card has to say. So stability is absolutely paramount to your general happiness and success this month. This is a very grounded energy here. And I mean, it's the earth spirit. So one thing that may be lacking for you, Pisces, is grounding. And grounding for each of you will be different. So whatever it is in your life that helps you clear your head, helps you feel more stable and secure, whether that's hanging out with a friend or a family member, whether it's reading and researching and learning, or whether it's just spending some time to get clear. I recently did a 1-card reading which had a very similar energy. Find your grounding, find your path, whatever works for you. That's what you should be focusing on this month. And you want to lean into people, places, and things in your life that are stable. So stable investments, stable relationships, and stable living situations. Enough said with that. Let's focus on the rest of the cards and see what's coming through. Suffice it to say, relationships are a major part of your happiness and your health this month. Sorting them out is going to be key. We have a divine feminine energy here, which is possibly, kind of getting in the way of some things. But we also have a divine masculine. So it could be mom and dad. It could be 2 different figures in your life that are kind of pulling you between them. As I said, you have to find your own way. And that is the important message with that. And if people love you unconditionally and truly, they're not going to force you to choose. So that's one thing to remember. I feel many of you are being called to move. As we saw here, it's important to be more flexible, more fluid. And if you feel like you're stagnating in any situation, it's time to move on. The Empress in reverse can also represent lower 3 chakras that might need to be dealt with. So we're looking at the root, the sacral, the solar plexus. The solar plexus because a lot of times she's pregnant, and that can represent the connection to both your parents, but also just your power center. The pregnancy also can connect us to the root chakra, but all 3 of those are connected. And you know what? A lot of times we focus so much on heart and above, sometimes just the third eye, but we have to really make sure that we're firmly planted on this planet. That's why this came through. So take some time in meditation, and also if it's been a while since you've gone to doctors that have helped you with the lower 3 chakras. So making sure that you're going to the urologist, that you're going to the OBGYN, that you're checking out even your gut health, all of those things that sometimes we just put off to the sideline. This is a month to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, okay? Let's see what else is coming through in this spread. Balance issues overall, not just your emotions, but literally balance. Whenever we're looking at temperance or 2 of Pentacles or 6 of Pentacles, they have to do with that. So it starts with emotions, but some of you may also be having some issues with inner ear or vertigo. Obviously, you want to work with your doctor on that. Overall, though, when we're looking at this, it's grieving and emotional sort of health and mental health. So that also gets swept under the rug. We're always focusing on the physical, but it begins here and here. So focusing on talking to someone if you need to help understand and also flesh out any of those emotions that might have kind of built up. Now is the time. Shake up the routine a little bit. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's time to explore new things. You might have better luck with that, whether it's talking to a different doctor, trying a different exercise routine, meditating in a different way. It's time to change things up. Overall, fairly manageable based on what I'm looking at. So let's go ahead and move into wealth, resources, life purpose, and career. We have a card that's about tuning in here. In tarot, I would connect signs from heaven to the 4 of Swords because it's a resting card. Thank you, heaven, for sending me reminders of your presence. We have to slow down long enough to pick up on those. So meditation practice is important. If you're insanely busy because you work all the time, because you're balancing out a family, because there's just a lot going on in your life, take 5 or 10 or 15 minutes. It can be while you're brushing your teeth, taking a shower, walking the dog. Take some time during that period to just tune in and think to yourself all those important questions that I asked earlier, which is, how do I feel? What do I want? What's the next step? A little bit of planning. Make sure you're getting ample sleep so that you can really pick up on subtle information, cues, and dreams. This is also just about dreams. So we're looking at wealth. What is or was your dream, and how are you tracking towards that? And if you don't have a dream, spend some time looking into that. As we're talking about all of this, my solar plexus is activating. I can feel pain right here. So I talked about that here. Your dream is not what your mom or dad or your boss wants. It's something else. And I would love for you to spend some time this month developing that. That can include just doing something that you love. Artistic. I mean, we have so many creative cards here. So taking a class in dance, in writing, in art, anything creative, anything artistic, please do that. That is going to help you. Who cares if it has any connection to your career? It's going to help you reignite the passion in your heart and in your belly, and that's where I feel it. We're going to break this down now into 3 categories: those that are already employed, those who are seeking employment, and then students and retirees. For those who are already employed, it's breakthrough time here. 3 of Wands is crossing to a new sort of shore or new expectation. And because the Hierophant is reversed, what we're seeing here is someone didn't expect to see this out of you, but nonetheless, you showed them up. So I feel like you can break a glass ceiling, you can surprise someone, and they're celebrating that. The only sort of thing that's getting in the way for you, Pisces, is your own emotions. It could be because of pressure being put on you by a coworker or a boss. It could be because you are really keen on achieving or being successful. Check your emotions. Seek out any support that you might need in the form of, friendship, therapy, etc. If you can figure out how to get that energy grounded, because that was what we had here in health, and listen to your intuition, then we see the breakthrough moment here. Lots and lots of teamwork. For some of you, there's too many people, and that's actually what's kind of creating the stress here. You like working on your own. This month, you have to sort of like find a way to be at peace with this team activity. Then there's going to be a chance for some of you to travel or to get back on sort of smaller one-on-one group work, and that's going to be advantageous. Okay, so that's one read here in the existing job sort of category. The other thing that I see is that some of you have gone to school, or perhaps you've just gotten a certification, and I can see it here, I can see the wisdom, but then when it comes time to kind of apply or believe it, there's disbelief. And I can think way back to when I first graduated from college and grad school. When I was finally done with all of it, I'd been in school for a while, and I remember stepping into some jobs where I was given a title and I thought, do I really deserve this? Should I be managing? Have I had enough experience? And I quickly let it go when at one of the jobs, I just kept doing what I was doing, even though I had insecurity. And the manager pulled me aside and said, I've never seen people so motivated. And I quickly just let it go. And I thought, well, I just have to show up and I need to project what they're looking for, which is confidence, leadership, and then just start sharing what I had to share. And I quickly got out of my own headspace. Like, stop taking yourself so seriously. Stop worrying so much. Just do it. Just show up. Fake it till you make it. And that's one of the best pieces of advice I could give you, Pisces, is as long as you don't have the insecurity, people aren't going to see it. They're just going to see capacity, possibility, and whatever it is that you're bringing forth in the way of knowledge or skills, okay? Don't get in your own way, because I feel like you're going to be okay. And this can be you surpassing expectations here, because this is success and this is breaking through sort of rigidity. And I just feel like it's a really good month. Emotions or insecurity, those are the only things that are really standing in your way, or hastiness. Be patient, be consistent, keep up with the details, because we talked about that before, and I think you're going to be all right. Lots of people, lots of personalities. Focus on, you don't have to make everyone happy. Focus on the core relationships and you'll be fine. That's the main message here. I like what I see overall. For those that are seeking work this month, I think it's important to network. If there are any sort of professional networking opportunities, say yes immediately. I think it's also important to focus on the closest people that you know, best friends, blood relatives, or neighbors, whoever it is that's closest to you, because the Two of Cups is pretty intimate. So people that you know the best, make sure you're telling them, because they may know someone, or they may know someone who knows someone, and they can get you the connection that you're seeking and open a door a lot more quickly for you. We do have a good card here in the Three of Wands, but I will say this. One thing that could hinder some of you is it's who you know. So if you don't know someone on the inside, or they could be ageist, they could be looking for someone that is a certain age, either younger or older, that could be the only thing that steps in the way, because I see that you have the wisdom. So work the network and trust in your abilities, very similar to what we were talking about here. The Empress and the Hierophant tend to be older cards, and the Page and the Knight are younger. So there may be in certain places a requirement that you have to go through a certain level. I don't think it's going to take you as long as you might think. So you could always negotiate with this place. You could say, well, I'll tell you what, I really feel like I have the experience and the education. I'm willing to meet you halfway. So maybe rather than getting as much pay as you want, you're willing to take the title, because then that title can help you somewhere else get the pay. You might have to do something like that, a little bit of a trade-off. What's more important to you, the title or the pay? Because for some reason, some of the employers are looking for sequential leveling, and it may be difficult to make the leap that you're looking for. So be willing and ready to make a case for why you should make that leap, okay? It may be because you have shown the capacity in your existing work experience, or because you have the education. put it down in a way that they're going to understand. That's the only sort of tripping point. But I'm looking at this very optimistically. This Three of Wands shows that within 2 to 3 weeks, many of you may find an opportunity. And the only thing, again, is it's something about the rank that may not be exactly what you want. So you want a different title. But and I'm not seeing money here on the table at all. So don't be afraid to talk to people that you know about how to negotiate the salary, or if you're interviewing and they're just not putting it out there, say at some point you just say, let's talk about compensation and get it out there, and be ready to also have already done the research. So if they say, well, what do you want? What do you think is fair? Be ready for that conversation. Okay. For those of you that are retired, it's all about people this month. Some of you are just social butterflies, more than I've ever seen at Pisces. You could be finding love for the first time, or love after a rebound. We'll talk more about that in a second, but I'm definitely seeing that. With the outcome card here, retirees, some of you are just looking for something different, something bigger than the rigid way that you've been doing something. So when it comes to worship, maybe you're looking for a more open-minded place to go to practice your spiritual practice. For those of you that are in a very conservative sort of community, you might be looking for younger energy, more innovative energy. And for those of you that just kind of feel stuck, like I said, with the Hermit in a cycle, the answer here is in the Three of Wands, which is perhaps traveling or exploring new things, and doing so through the lens of a friend or a partner or someone that wants to travel with you, an activity partner as well. For students, it's a really exciting time. First of all, if you're still in school or you're going back to school in the fall, I really encourage you to enjoy student life. I've never seen so many sort of people cards here. So it's who you know, it's who you meet. These are people that you're going to be keeping in touch with for years to come, and also who could open doors for you. Some of you are feeling a little bit of frustration over not being able to maybe create the course schedule that you want, like the major that you want. So if you need to transfer, this is an opportunity that I see on the horizon for some of you, because life is too finite to not be happy with what you're doing. So if you feel sort of pressured into studying something that doesn't feel right, I get a transfer here. It's not like having to change your major. It just might be looking at a different school or going into a different program, or just even switching advisors. I had to do that when I was in grad school. I had an advisor when I was finally getting to my thesis. He was so specific in the way that I had to do it. I just went to another one and I said, can you be my advisor? She was like, yes. So I just chose a different person to oversee the thesis, and it was so much easier and so much more fun. And it's important when you're working on something that's important for it to be enjoyable. So whether it's a different advisor, a different major, a different school, I'm just getting a slight change there. It's not necessarily having to change the whole program. Find the flexibility that you need to make sure you're building something educationally that you really feel excited about. And if you just graduated, keep in touch with the alumni that you have, because that's what's also going to open doors. Okay? Let's move on to love and relationships. Okay, so the card was reversed. Let's see it in the upright position. Halls of Amenti initiation, secrets revealed, treasures uncovered, initiations. So revelations, basically. So if there's things that were kind of under the surface, they're coming to the surface. If there's something that before was difficult to see, now it's very much sort of front and center. Let's break this down into 3 categories. Those in a relationship, looking for love, or happily single. If you're in a relationship, this is what you want to focus on. Really keeping the lines of communication open, having each other's backs, tuning out the noise. There's a lot of noise. I see 3 pressure points. This can be immediate family, both your parents and or your in-laws. This can be other matriarchs and patriarchs in the family, like aunts or grandparents. And this can also just be society. So society, parents, and matriarchs and patriarchs. That's a lot. And you're squarely between those 3 pressure points. At the end of the day, just focus on the 2 of you. As I said earlier, there could also be expansion of family. This can be unexpected birth, overdue birth too, for those of you that might be waiting to deliver. I see a happy outcome here, celebration. It's all good. For those of you that are having a child right now, it's an old soul. It's going to be just a really deep connection that you have with this child. Someone that you've known before, someone that you'll know again. So past life karma, good karma from what I can see. Some of you are adopting or, again, blending, and generally speaking, it's good. A little bit of friction with the elders, but the immediate family is great, and that's all you can ask for. The one thing to focus on is your own emotional health and well-being. A lot of you are just feeling pressure. Like I said, you can't make them all happy. Focus on the two of you, and don't rush into anything right now. Take your time, okay? Pretty manageable overall when it comes to existing relationships. The next thing that we want to focus on is those that are seeking love. Can you find it? Yeah. The thing that's kind of interesting is this could almost be a cycle. We could look at all of this as the same type in different bodies. So maybe what the universe is inviting you to do in this period of time is just to open up to a different template. We talked earlier about not having the same mold, breaking the mold. And so if you're open to try something new, there could be someone different that comes through. Otherwise, what I'm seeing here, again, is divine partnership. Potentially, they may have a child attached to them or a very big family, and you find yourself in this instant expanded family, which could be fun. For those of you that are seeking that sort of experience, you can definitely find it. We also get, for some of you, that there could be an old soul. It doesn't have to be an age difference, but we see a lot of maturity coming forth as well. Where can you find the person? Well, first of all, don't rush it. I feel like this is just you in and about town and going to existing functions and RSVPing yes to invitations. I've said that time and again, but if you have a chance to go somewhere, do it. And I know that you may be a little bit shy to be out there. Some of you, again, it's a rebound sort of energy, but it's a happy rebound. This is one that even has staying power. So this is a great time to get out there. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, we have tons of water. So it doesn't have to be the exact same sign or the exact same template, but I am seeing certain things that come through again. And if I had to pick one thing to be aware of, it's power dynamics. And I think the other thing is maybe having people that are closed-minded or controlling. So power dynamics come through a couple times there. And if you're not ready to commit, be honest with yourself, be honest with others. For those of you that are happily single right now, good for you. I think it's virtually impossible unless you don't go out to not meet new people. There's a lot of blossoming friendship, partnership, and just potential to meet new people. So I would encourage you to lean into that. Only good things can come of that. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at your destiny card. We have the beautiful butterfly on this one with the caption, The Mystic. The butterfly represents transformation and change. Some of you are going through spiritual growth or creative growth, and the important thing here is to get really solid on who it is that you want to be or how you want to present this. When you know, then you can speak from a place of confidence, and that's going to be what wins people over. So if there's something that you need to say, practice saying it to yourself and believing it first so that you can infuse your communication with that sense of knowing, of power, and of passion. Because if you try to convince someone but you say it in the form of a question, it's not as powerful. State it as just that, a statement of truth and of knowing. So it feels like some of you are ready to, could be like, say that you love someone or propose or quit a job or come out or whatever it is that you need to do. In order to get there, you have to believe it. And once that happens, the sky is the limit, but also people aren't going to argue with you as much because you can say, I've given this great thought and this is what I want. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper into sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what's coming through. Sun got 2 cards, so we're going to honor that. Rising and moon, and we have a synchronicity with the moon. We're going to start off first with sun sign messages. presenting energy is the Devil. The card beneath it, which is going to help you overcome it, is the Queen of Swords. So the Devil can represent conditions, things that are kind of pulling you down. So someone in your life that says they love you, but only if you do this or act like this or fit their expectations in some way, shape, or form. And that's not enough, right? This can also be someone who keeps a secret or who is not willing to fully put out like their true self. So if it's conditional love, if there's a lack of honesty, a lack of transparency, or if there are control issues coming forth, what you're going to do is speak up. You're going to simply say in many cases, this isn't enough, or no. You can also check assumptions and simply ask someone, what did you mean by that, or what's going on? Or simply say, this isn't what we discussed. Use your voice, cut to the chase, and really make sure that, speaking of cutting, if there's something that you need to release from your life, this is the month to do so. For rising and ascendant, we have the High Priestess, which is a reminder, not only are you able to manifest in real time, which we see here with the Three of Wands, but it's also a reminder to be mindful of the way that you're arranging your thoughts. So you can either choose to focus on what hasn't happened or what you've had challenges with. For instance, let's say it's been difficult to find love. Instead of saying, I have bad luck with love, you're going to say, I'm working on calling in love and abundance in the highest forms. I am worthy, I am ready, I am open. So that is going to help you bring it in rather than focus on reinforcing what hasn't happened. So thoughts manifest, be mindful of that. This is a chance to develop your intuitive gifts, your creative gifts. It's a leadership card, and it's basically saying you have a great chance of accomplishing that which you seek out. It just boils down to self-confidence and basically the script that we're creating in our mind. Moving on to moon sign messages, Three of Swords. I talked earlier about the importance of forgiving yourself. This is basically reinforcing that. As I said at the very beginning, we can't control all that we did in the past. We can learn from it. We can make better decisions moving forward. This is also a chance to just deal with any heavy emotions that might be sort of presenting themselves right now. We look at this Three of Swords in particular and all of those different sort of lassos or strings around the heart. As I said with the Devil card, true love is unconditional. If people compare you to others or put these restrictions on how you should be in order to get their approval, it's time to release that sort of energy. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, forgive yourself, try to forgive others. Focus on healing, and then also from a health perspective, this is about taking care of both your emotional heart and also your physical heart, exercising, eating well, etc. Let's go ahead now and move to the final question. This can be anything that you still need a little bit of clarity on. Let's go ahead and shuffle the cards and see what Spirit has to say. Three of Pentacles, it's a pretty good card. For those of you that asked a yes or no question, this would be a yes. There is an interesting sort of caveat with this, which is the power this month is also in partnerships. We see a team here of three people. There's always three people in this particular illustration. Typically, though, one person's doing the lion's share of the work and the other two are kind of like with a clipboard. They're either giving feedback or kudos. In this particular card, we just see everyone sharing in the reward, everyone putting in their own sort of like contribution, different pieces of the pie, if you will. So you can get there faster, more effectively, and just more easily with a team. And we have that team energy here in the cards here as well. It doesn't have to just be limited to three. It could be four, it could be six, it could be a bigger group if you want it to be. So power in numbers this month. But as a yes or no, it's a yes. Put it into writing though. This is a contractual card, often associated with graduating, higher education, learning, and also signatures. So make sure you get it all in writing. That, my friends, is everything for this month. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor, like and subscribe. You can also give me a follow on social media. It's always my full name on all major platforms. You can go to my website if you ever need clarity on that. Remember, I do not offer private readings, nor do I use direct messages. So if you see any of that out there, block and report. Stay safe. You can always give back through super stickers, super chat, and memberships. Thank you in advance if you did any of that. And I'd like to just simply end with gratitude. Much love and light, everybody. Have a great month ahead, and I'll see you soon.